Hello, 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 once again. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. Um, Thanks for joining me. I'm doing the new releases today for October 3rd, 2025. May as well get off at the beginning here by starting to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room that's not in the room. And so, if you're watching this to see an album by Taylor Swift called Confessions of a Showgirl, you'll have to imagine that it's here. Her record label is being so like militant about the way they're hanging on to it this time. We're not even allowed to get it in the shop until the day of the release, which is crazy. Usually we get things a day or two early just to get them ready to be sold. And nope, not even that, which is amazing considering that their special deal that they have with Target. By the way, I'm going to do a little Target ad right here, right now. You can get that at midnight at Target. So I believe it might be the same version that we have. So if you feel like no guilt and you want to go do that in the middle of the night, hey, whatever. It's all commerce. They're a great company, right? They've done a lot. I mean, God help the big box stores, right? Save those big box stores. See what corporate dollars get you. Hey, well, it's free trade. I don't know. I'm going off. You're lucky you didn't see the first edit of this video. I had actually recorded stuff, cut it, and I'm like, as UPS showed up, I'm like, oh, I got to do it again. So this is actually a little tamer than the first time. But what I'll say is, there are things that I think it's hard when you get to be an artist of that size in an era where everything is being so kept under wraps for things not to get out. And I don't know, I've had weird things that have happened around Taylor Swift in my retail life. I would say, like, from, even just like a couple weeks ago, someone calls me and says, I've got a box of autographed Taylor Swift CDs. Would you buy them so you can sell them? I mean, maybe they were legit. Maybe they were not. Maybe they were counterfeit. Maybe it was somebody who works for the record company and wants to make a little money on the side. I have no idea what that was all about. I turned it down. Sorry, because I just didn't think it was cool to be doing that. And whether it was real or not. But there have been times that she's sent autographed CDs out to stores. I've not been the fortunate one to get one of those shipments yet. And some stores that have, I'm still trying to figure out how they're so fortunate that they get them. And I don't know if it's because they've got accounts with Universal, or they're like, there's some payola going on in the back room. I have no idea. I mean, it could just be luck of the draw, I suppose. But it's kind of a weird thing where she like tries to do something good for stores, like indie stores, which is unusual coming from those big companies, but then it's not really fair either. So that kind of sucks. And so what I'm kind of was going on about my first time I filmed this was about a year and a half ago when Tortured Poets Department came out. It came out on Record Store Day. Now, she'd had other Record Store Day releases. Great. You're driving traffic to the store. Fine. This one drove traffic too, but it also seemed like now, because it was a new album, it was kind of dropped on the day of like Record Store Day when people would normally be buying like, other things. It sort of was like, you're co-opting the Record Store Day holiday. And then she totally turned our backs on us when Black Friday came around and released the special edition only at Target. I know it was like $80, but still, that was kind of rude for a fellow Pennsylvanian. And then now this, where it's like, Target gets to sell it at midnight, but we can't even see it until tomorrow. And, thank God I've got a UPS driver that gets here before I open. usually, but some stores they don't get their UPS until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So how's that fair? If the big retailer down the street's been selling it for like over 12 hours and you haven't even seen it yet. It's not cool. So you got to work out the angst over indie stores. I don't know what it is, but all right. On that note, so imagine it will be here, but I didn't go crazy trying to get a whole lot of them because I don't know where we stand these days. She turned her back on us. It's all about a Kelsey now. And no, I don't know. I, I'm sure I'm reading more into that than needs to be. Okay, let's get into like new releases here. First thing up, Prince, Purple Rain, Because Sound Matters, One Step. How awesome is this? $100. I know it ain't cheap. This is number 95 of 6,000. Pretty cool. But yeah, probably one of my favorite albums. Definitely one of my favorite albums of all time. People ask me, they're like, "Can you name a perfect album?" And this is always the one I name that's the closest because it's just about the right length. It's just about, there's no wasted minute, wasted moment. He's edited some things down, although I do love the 13-minute version of Computer Blue, and I really wish they would put that on vinyl at some point. But, this has the basic 4-minute album track that everyone knows, featuring the hits, When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, Take Me With You, I Would Die For You, and Purple Rain. Those were the 5 big singles from the album, but also Beautiful Ones, one of my favorite songs he ever did. Computer Blue, as I mentioned, Darling Nikki, and Baby I'm a Star. Darling Nikki was the song that ended up getting parental advisories placed on albums. Ironically, this one does not have a parental advisory. Go figure. I guess it's been around long enough that it's not seen as maybe as racy as it was, although I think it's still pretty racy. But such a great album, such a great movie. Yeah. What can I say about this that hasn't been said already? That's a great sounding audiophile edition. Warner Brothers has done that because they still own the rights to all of the movie soundtrack stuff. Sony owns everything else. Speaking of Sony, I believe they own this, Oasis. And What's the Story? Morning Glory, the 30th anniversary edition. This is the Cast No Shadow edition. There are no people standing on the street there. So a little bit of a difference from the original cover. I can't believe it's been 30 years. And the shows recently have been nothing but rapturous reviews from what I hear from people. This is the inspired clear vinyl, a Cast No Shadow inspired, featuring brand new unplugged versions. So it's 3 LPs. It's the basic 2 LPs on clear vinyl. Third LP features 5 unplugged songs: Cast No Shadow, Morning Glory, Wonderwall, Acquiesce, and Champagne Supernova. This runs about $80, so it's not cheap. If you just want the basic record, you can still find that. And another sort of box setty thing this week, Jerry Garcia Band, live at the Warfield, March 1st, 1991. So this came out on a sort of deluxe CD edition a few weeks ago. They put it out at the same time with Volume 1. There were 3 shows. Volume 1 on vinyl came out then, so this is Volume 2. The third one comes out in another 6 weeks or so. 4 weeks, so sometime in November, I think, maybe December. But this is, 4 records, 4 LPs, like it's about $72. One of the most interesting shows of the 1990s, featuring an all-time Don't Let Go and More, mastered from soundboard recordings. So people said the other one sounded great and it was really interesting. So, all right. A couple of sort of reissues that I think some sort of Pearl Jam fans might be interested in. Mother Love Bone. This is their album Shine from 1989, fully remastered. This features Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament as part of the band. The other one is Apple. and same sort of deal here. These are the black vinyl versions. There are color vinyl versions of these coming, but there aren't many of them, so those are going to be kind of hard to get. But get these while you can, because I don't know how long they're going to be around. My Morning Jacket Z 20th Anniversary Edition. Again, I can't believe this album is as old as it is. Remastered from the original master tapes, includes 14 unreleased outtakes and demos on 3 LP colored vinyl. So, and Rolling Stone named it one of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Let's see, Deep Purple, made in Japan. Almost said made in China. This is a Steven Wilson remix. So if you got the recent box set on CD, you would have gotten that. The vinyl, the only way to get that was by buying the whole box set. So now they've extracted that from the set. This is the legendary 1972 double live album, remixed by Steven Wilson, featuring Smoke on the Water, Highway Star, and Child in Time. Pretty popular record. Space Truckin' is all of side 4, which is basically like, yeah. Let's see. Also, Jason Isbell, a special reissue of this. This is the 10th anniversary edition of this album. Something More Than Free. It's on denim color vinyl for indie exclusive. Includes the unreleased B-side Should I Go Missing and liner notes by Jennifer Palmieri. One of Jason's most popular records, I think. Even, he had a couple that have been pretty big. A few, actually, at this point. Jewel, Pieces of You, a reissue of this album. And this is a 90s classic. I mean, huge record. And it's been out on vinyl before, but now we're getting a 30th anniversary pressing on Sea Glass Smoke vinyl. Can you believe this record's 30 years old? Featuring Who Will Save Your Soul, You Were Meant for Me, and Foolish Games, all 3 like major radio hits. Also Pieces of You, Little Sister. Yeah, this was a great album. I mean, it was pretty folky, and she got a little more pop after this, and kind of, sort of like, I don't know, I wouldn't say jump the shark, but she tried to change a lot, and I don't know, her fans didn't want change. So anyway, but she's still around doing stuff. I think she won The Masked Singer a few years ago. All right, one of my favorite singers, songwriters of all time, and I say this every time I show something by this guy. Ugh, sorry. And he is reissuing his catalog, some of his catalog again, this time on color vinyl. Probably, if not my favorite album of all time, one of my top 3. David Sylvian and Secrets from the Beehive. And I love this artwork. This is a slightly different tint on this cover. The original was by Vaughn Oliver of V23, who did all of the 4AD album covers for like Cocteau Twins and stuff like that. But I just love this. It's just kind of like sort of flotsam and jetsam that was found along a shoreline. But I think the cover is sort of like indicative of the music. Pressed on Corona yellow opaque black vinyl. So it's colored with yellow and black Beehive. Featuring a lot of Ryuichi Sakamoto on piano. Danny Thompson, who just passed away, I believe he's on this album playing bass. I can't remember who else. There were quite a few. Like he worked a lot with who's the trumpeter? Can't remember the guy's name right now. Who's also since passed away, but featuring some of my favorite songs of his. He's kind of a crooner in the style of Scott Walker. He was in the band Japan, who was very like Duran Duran, sort of took pretty much their whole sound of their early career from Japan. But Sylvian changed a lot. He went much more into like jazzier and world music. And this features the single The Boy with the Gun, and Orpheus was sort of a single. Orpheus is great because it has this spot in the middle that just stops and it's very silent and you think the song's over. and half of it still is left. Let the Happiness In was also a single. Waterfront is one of the most beautiful songs ever. When Poets Dreamed of Angels, incredible acoustic guitar and sort of percussion mix. Mother and Child gets a little sort of strange and jazzy in a way, but very cool. Maria is very atmospheric, and September, that opens the album, just gorgeous 1.5 minute piano track, some strings, Devil's Own. I just love this album. I can't say enough about it. I could probably talk about it for hours here, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But he did have, there are 4 records that came out. One I haven't gotten yet, which is Brilliant Trees, which was his first solo record. And that's a fantastic album, too. That features Red Guitars, kind of the jazzy song on there, but also things like Nostalgia, Weathered Wall, very kind of jazzy, atmospheric. More like this album, Gone to Earth, which was in between the two. Now, they've completely changed the cover art on this. These are the second time this series has come out. So these are colored vinyl. The last time was the same picture, which is, at the time, there was all this stuff about David is the most beautiful man around. And you can kind of see he got sort of tagged with that. And I'm not sure he liked it too much. But he was very, sort of like matinee idol kind of looking guy. But incredible music. And I think he probably used his looks, as much as he probably could to kind of get his music heard. But this album is interesting because it's a double record, and the second album is all instrumental, and it's sort of all atmospheric. There are no drums. It's all guitar textures and keyboards, and it's mostly like kind of swooping guitar sounds, whatever. Mainly Robert Fripp and Bill Nelson playing guitar along with his sort of keyboard stuff. And the first record is more of a conventional sort of like this album, in the sense that it's a vocal driven. But Taking the Veil is the first song, and it's kind of dreamy. Silver Moon is the last song on that, which was sort of it was shown on VH1 at the time, probably the most atmospheric looking video VH1 ever showed. Wave, Riverman. Songs like Wave and Before the Bullfight are pushing like 10 minutes long. So you could see sort of why eventually he would work with Robert Fripp. They did the Project Sylvian Fripp, that album together. And then also because David had worked with people like Richard Barberi in Japan, who would then go on to be part of Porcupine Tree, who spent a lot of time working with Steven Wilson. You can kind of see the lineage there of like the influences, the sort of artists that ran around in the same circles. But this is a fantastic record. Laughter and Forgetting is like a 2-minute song with a really great trumpet solo. And Gone to Earth is kind of the weird sort of 2-3 minute, like very experimental kind of track. It's just Fripp kind of playing odd guitar bits with Sylvian singing over them. But great album, another great album from the 80s, another one of my favorites. The original cover is a little more sort of ethnic looking, I suppose. And then Alchemy is his other album of this period that I have so far. This is a instrumental album as well. And mostly it's Words with the Shaman, and Steel Cathedrals is on side 2, which is sort of almost 20 minutes of ambient stuff. So he's very experimental. I think he was really trying to kind of break away from being a pop artist in Japan, but still kind of trying to do enough pop stuff to kind of keep his career sort of talked about. Love David Sylvian. All right. And he hasn't really done a record in like 15 years. He just produced that new album by Lucretia Dalt, who is like kind of a experimental singer-songwriter. And he has a very small spoken word bit on the album, and that's pretty much it. So, all right, these are kind of cool that these are on vinyl. Another great set of music. I probably can't say enough about this, how much I love these. Lord of the Rings, the 3 soundtracks are now out on vinyl. This is, and I think they're fairly limited too. This is clear vinyl edition, Fellowship of the Ring, all done by Howard Shore, who did the music. This is on Palantir clear vinyl, and this one features May It Be, sung by Enya. The second one, The Two Towers, and same sort of situation. This one features Gollum's song by Emiliana Torini, who's kind of an interesting Icelandic singer. And then this one, Return of the King, features Into the West by Annie Lennox of Eurythmics, a wonderful, wonderful song. I'd say probably, if not her best soundtrack song, maybe second best to the love song from a vampire, or for a vampire from the Dracula movie. Anyway, 3 fantastic soundtracks. I mean, I love these movies so much, and it's great seeing the soundtracks available on vinyl, as they should be. A couple of Blue Note tone poets this week. Sort of more interesting, kind of lesser known, Bobby Hutcherson's Montera. And this one, I think this is more like a 70s. 1975 is when this came out. Sort of other people than he normally his whole group of people he sort of worked with changed by that time, since the early days. It does feature Blue Mitchell, though. He plays trumpet on one of the tracks. So 1970s version of Bobby Hutcherson. Other thing, and I think this is again another one of these sort of like compilations that was put together. 1979 was when this first came out. Stanley Turrentine, In Memory Of. And this is cool because it features Blue Mitchell again, Herbie Hancock, and some other people that are a little lesser known. But this is cool because it's like stuff that you don't always get from Stanley Turrentine. So kind of unique. The tone poets, as you know, sound great. They are done by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. Yada yada. I say that stuff all about that all the time. Okay, so there are a few new releases this week, I have to note. I saw these guys live. I've seen them a couple times in the last couple years, but they were recently in the area again. And this is their new EP, Matter, Sparks. And they released the album Mad back in, late May. And this is the 4-song EP, Matter, that they were selling just at their shows, and they decided to put it out more widely. It features the single Porcupine, which has a great video. It's very kind of humorous. Also, Fantasize, Mess Up, and They are the other 3 songs. And so it's on a 10-inch vinyl and also on a 10-inch picture disc. So if you're into like something a little more, I don't know, people are like, picture discs don't sound as good. Okay, well, they might not, but you know, it's kind of a fun piece of pop art to have a Sparks picture disc. A couple new things also, AFI and their new album, Silver Bleeds the Black Sun. And this is cool. It's kind of a textured cover. First run edition, pressing 4,000. Oh, this is introducing the RFC First Run Club. Let's see. So includes fall 2025 CD sampler, a collector's poster, and stickers. So I'm not sure if this is like some kind of special club record instead of a new album. But anyway, AFI. I think it's a new album. Vernon Reid, if you're into like Living Color. It's a solo record from him called Hoodoo Telemetry. Guitarist of alt-rock Trailblazers, Living Color gives a piece of his genre-crossing mind on limited edition purple vinyl. So, new Vernon Reid. New Say Shishi. Say Shishi. Cut and Rewind. These ladies are actually really cool. They're on Coal Mine Records, I believe, or an offshoot of it. They were anyway. Let's see what they're on. Drink Some Water Records now. All right, and it says female-led, a New York City band, Say Shishi, lean into the punk chic with Cut and Rewind. Say Shishi can light up any dance floor, says NPR. And The Guardian says boundary busting disco discodelic soul. Can't speak at all. Too much Say Shishi. Well, there's a song called Disco Life on here, so I've heard them. They're fun. They're great. Interesting band. Want to check out Rocket. R is for Rocket. And this is Coke Bottle Clear. This is on Transgressive Records, a great label. They're the ones that put out the new Sparks album. I don't know. They were sort of in the description as like kind of shoegazy, but I don't know. It's hard to say. They look a little punky, but I can't really tell from the pictures. I need to hear this record. But Rocket, R is for Rocket. Speaking of punk, Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks. This is another reissue of this album. It's been done many, many times. This is limited edition, ultra clear vinyl. Ultra clear. I believe, well, this says Warner Records, so I don't know if Rhino necessarily put their stamp on this one. Usually Rhino will say it's Rhino if it has something to do with that. I don't know why Warner would be reissuing it at this point. They Might Be Giants. There are a couple of They Might Be Giants reissues this week of some of their lesser known later albums. Nanobots. This one's Nanobots. This is on translucent cobalt blue vinyl. The other one that's on the way is called Glean, and it's on red vinyl. So if you're into They Might Be Giants, you might want to check these two out. This one has 25 songs on it. So, probably some of these songs are a little bit short, but, with titles like Insect Hospital, The Darlings of Lumberland, Too Tall Girl, Circular Karate Chop, Stone Cold Coup d'etat. I think you kind of know what you're in for there. Great band. They've been around forever. The Digits. And New Digits reissue, Strictly Dynamite, the best of. The recklessness and abandon that got me into punk in the first place. A teetering train about to go off the rails. I couldn't wait to hear what was next. That was Dexter Holland of The Offspring. Steve Albini said the best rock and roll band of the 80s. Jello Biafra said kick-ass rock and roll, I'm in love. Melody Maker said a swarm of guitar-wielding wasps nesting in your ear hole. And Kerrang said, fuck, this is loud. So the Digits, you got some little F the Pigs, lots of F the Pigs signs. Strictly Dynamite. So, yeah, if you're into punk and the real deal. All right, and let's see, Waylon Jennings, Songbird. So shifting gears here to a country reissue. But actually, it's not really a reissue. It is a new album. It's his first new album in 27 years. And the reason for that is I think that this was stuff that was found sort of in his vault that he had not released. And Shooter Jennings took it and remixed it and kind of did some extra production work and put it in an old school tip-on jacket and did it as an independent record store exclusive. This is the Tiger's Eye vinyl color edition. So, yeah, it's kind of a new Waylon. It says it's a collection of recordings captured between 1973 and 1984 in various studios. It does feature Tony Joe White and Jesse Coulter. So, Waylon. And another cool reissue, Juliana Hatfield sings Olivia Newton-John. This has been out before. This one's actually autographed. This is actually pretty great. She does kind of like indie girl rock, like Riot Girl versions of Olivia Newton-John songs. And it's kind of all over the map with the songs she chose. I Honestly Love You, Suspended in Time from Xanadu. Have You Never Been Mellow, A Little More Love, Magic, Physical, Totally Hot, Don't Stop Believin', Please Mr. Please, Hopelessly Devoted to You, Xanadu, Dancing Round and Round, and Make a Move on Me. So she kind of hits most of Olivia's big hits here. But and $1 from the sale of each album will be donated to the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Center. So a nice place to send money. And then I have one CD to show, which is also one of my favorite singer-songwriters of the last 40 years. It has passed away 20 years ago now. Kirsty MacColl, and this is Free World, the best of 1979 to 2000. And she was killed in a terrible speedboat accident off the coast of Mexico. Yeah, it was horrifying. So anyway, she was only about 40 years old at the time. But this features everything from her early days and even the song that she did with the Pogues, the Christmas Fairy Tale of New York. Also collaborations with Billy Bragg and Evan Dando, and of the Lemonheads, and yeah, some of her later stuff that goes into more of her Cuban sounding stuff is on here too. Just one of the most fun, observational, witty, charming, and also a little bit tough underneath the sort of veneer. Sort of had to form like a kind of a tough shell when she was sort of a woman in the business. Married to longtime producer Steve Lillywhite for a long time, even during like the Smiths, when he was working with the Smiths. She sang on their albums. She was there when U2 was recording Joshua Tree, helped pick the running order for the album. How'd you pick the running order, Kirsty? It was easy. I just put my favorite song first, my next favorite song next, my next favorite song. Totally makes sense when you listen to the album. So anyway, so nice 2 CD compilation of her best. I think that you can probably get that on vinyl too as well somewhere. So I think that's everything for today. I had a little recommend, but I think I'm going to save it because I already was talking for 15 minutes before I had to stop and answer UPS. And I'm not good at editing, so I have to just do it all in one run. Everything you see from me, by the way, 260 videos or whatever, totally unedited and unscripted. Talk about thinking on your feet all the time. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you so much as usual. I really appreciate it all. And I hope you get your Taylor Swifts this weekend or whatever. Now, I mean, I hope you get good music. I mean, she's good. Don't get me wrong. I don't need any people coming at me. I do like a fair amount of her music. So, all too well. 10 minutes of incredible, right? Okay. Take care, guys. Thank you. Peace. Enjoy the beautiful October, I hope.